Group by is a statement in SQL which helps us grouping the data as per our needs, and we can apply multiple aggregate functions like count, average, sum, and so on. The basic SQL syntax of group by is that we use it with select, we use the column names, an aggregate function, and we group it by on the same column names that are used in the select. Group by lets you organize rows into the categories based on a column or a combination of columns, and then we apply aggregate functions like count, or we have sum, or we have average, and so on. And this is applied to each group that is used inside our data set. So let's take an example of student names. So here we have student names. Now let's assume that these student names have enrolled themselves into multiple courses ranging from BTech, BCA, MCA, MTech, and BDS. Now in this staggered data, we want to achieve a solution to a problem statement, and the problem statement that we have is that how many students are enrolled in each course. So we want to segregate every course and we want how many students are there in each course. Let's move this data set into a tabular format. Here we can see that we have brought that data set into two columns, that is student name and course name. I want to see how many students or which all students are there in BTech, which all students and how many students are there in BDS, which all students and how many students are there in MTech, which all students and how many students are there in BCA, and similarly the number of students that are there in MCA. When we use group by at the back end, it actually presents data in this format. So what it is going to do, it is going to select every distinct course name, assign the data, assign the students under each course, and as I said, we have to always apply an aggregate function. So when we apply an aggregate function, that data will give us the result of that aggregate function. So here we wanted the count of the records. So we applied count function, and we can see that eventually what we are interested is that in BTech we had 6, in BCA we had 5, in MTech we had 5, and in MCA we had 6 students enrolled. Let us create a database over here. Let's see this implementation inside a SQL database, where we will be creating our table and seeing the group by implementation. Let us move to this database. Let's create a table. Which will have two columns, that is student name as well as course name. And we will keep both the columns of varchar. Let us move this data inside our table. Now we can see the data is successfully moved inside the table or inserted into the table. So here are our two columns, that is student and course name. Now remember the problem statement. The problem statement is to get the number of students enrolled in each course. So let's try to follow the syntax of group by, that is select column names. So over here the column name that we have is course name. So we are interested in the course name. Now we want to apply an aggregate function over here. So I want to count the number of students. So I will use count star function over here. We will use from table, that is student course. Here we will apply our group by column. Here we will apply our group by statement, that is by the course name. Now remember, the column over here as well as the column in the group by has to be same. So now when I run this query, you can see I am getting the number of students enrolled in each course. Here we can see the column name is coming as no column name. So let's alias and rename it. So we will call it as number of students. Now we can see that we can get the number of students enrolled per each course. So this is the implementation of group by statement, and that really relaxes and gives us a power of analyzing through our data, which helps whether you are a data analyst, data engineer, or any profile related to data. The power of group by.